I don't expect anyone to be up. It's all right. I don't expect anyone. I don't expect anyone to be up. It's all right. It's working. I mean, it's. There could be some of my viewers from North America might be here. It might be late at night where they are, you know. But people like Green Sea might be here. David Schultz, Terry Joyce. Some of them might turn up, I suppose. Is the chat working? Oh, speak of the convenience. Hello, Green Tea. How are you? Welcome. Is it late at night? It must be late at night where you are, mate. It's early morning where I am. How are you? You all right? Thanks for joining me. Oh, yeah. Good to see you, mate. Good to see you. Let me just put this on live chat. There we go. And Dave Langston. Hello. Hey, Dave's British. You're here. Great. It's 11 p.m. Right. Okay, mate. You must be Central Time. How are you? Welcome, Dave and Green Tea. All right, let's do the intro. Let's just do the intro. I got 3 people watching. That's not bad. Dave's British and he's here. They're going to do the intro. Here we go. Right. I need to go to screen share. Hang on a sec. Oh, we got a WoW signal as well. Dave Langston. Hello. How'd you do it? And a WoW signal. This is a WoW signal. 6EQUJ5. How'd you do? Thought so, mate. Yes, same as several. I know several people. I talk to people a lot over in the States, so I know the sort of time zones. Okay, well, it's 5 a.m. here, and let's just do the intro, and then we shall begin. One thing I've got to remember to do is mute mic when I'm doing this, because you got all my sniffles last time, didn't you? Oh, where's the settings? Oh, can you mute mic on StreamYard? Just a sec. Audio. There must be some simple way to do it. Just go like.
Conspiracies, government cover-ups, Earth mysteries, monster cryptids, cyber saucers, and black triangle, up and woe. Black goo in Antarctica, lizard kings from the 7th star. Men in black and Queen Boudica, up and woe. Black goo in Antarctica, Kepler's from the 7th star. Men in black and Queen Boudica, hop and woe. Welcome to the Hop and Woe Show. Once I was alone, I was petrified, thinking I could be abducted when the bins went out. And so I spent so many nights thinking about the gray that might be there. But I grew strong, and now I really couldn't care. Save me from the aliens, save me from the government, save me from the men in black who call. Save me from the skeptics, save me from the watchers. Justice must be done for Richard D. Hall. No more psyop whitewashes. No more left in fear. How long till disclosure comes? Is it really getting near? Is it really getting near? Is it really getting near? Or are we always gonna wonder? Are we never gonna know? Is it just a way to control cells created oh so many years ago? Save me from the sheeple. Save me from the liars. Open up your eyes and see their false flag planned attacks. Save me from the grifters. Save me from the spiteful mutant hacks. Our fear is their power, our obedience the same. Make quiet acts of integrity always be your aim. Make quiet acts of integrity always be your aim. Speak truth to power, always be the keeper of the flame.
It always ends suddenly like that. Don't worry about it. Well, hello everyone, welcome, and thank you to Rhiannon Jones for that music. I've got 7 people watching, which is actually not bad for this time of night, I'll tell you. But anyway, I want to say thank you to everyone who's got here. Green Tea, the Wow Signal, 6EQUJ5, and Dave Langston, who is British. Oh, Johnny Fettler. Hello, Johnny. How'd you do? He's about to go to bed. Oh my goodness me. You must be in Pacific time. Or maybe you're, I don't know, it must be like 9 p.m. Pacific. Depends what time you go to bed. But hello, Johnny. How you doing, mate? How you doing? Dave Langston, the Brit, has made it, so he's hardcore. He's really hardcore. Welcome. Well, anyway, welcome to this vigil for the 3i Atlas Mars approach. At the time I'm speaking right now, 3i Atlas is pretty much as close to Mars as it's going to get. We don't know the exact moment, but we know it's within the nearest hour. Oh, pardon me. And so we can have a look. We can actually find out. There we go. Well, get out of the way. There we go. This is the Sky Live, which is always a good thing for this sort of thing you see here. And there it is. It's about as close as it gets. After this, it starts going further away. Whoops. There we go. See, it's slightly. If you think of the plane of the ecliptic as or the Mars orbit as a kind of floor, 3i Atlas is just slightly above it, maybe 5 degrees or so. There's Mars. There's 3i. There's us here, Earth. As you can see, the sun is very much in the way. The sun's going to rise pretty soon, and here where I am as well, and pretty much at the moment, the glare of dawn is like stopping telescopes from the Earth seeing what's going on, seeing 3i Atlas, this object here, which has been called a comet. The distance between these two bodies is 18 million miles right now, which sounds a long way. If you had to walk 18 million miles, it would take you years. Yet, honestly, it probably may take you your whole life. I don't know exactly, but it'd take you a very long time. Yet, in cosmic terms, as you can see, if you zoom out, in cosmic terms, 18 million miles is nothing. It's scraping the paint off. You zoom out to this far, you can't see 3i Atlas and Mars are pretty much, from this angle, are pretty much in total conjunction. You see that, like the hyperbolic track. You could see like the very eccentric trajectory of 3i Atlas. I mean, you see it's virtually a straight line. Its eccentricity is 6, I think. I don't know exactly what that means in terms of units, but that's 6. As you see, it does bend slightly. It's changing course slightly to the right by about maybe 15 degrees or so, as due to the gravitational perturbation of the sun and inner planets. But basically, it's oh, DJ B2, hello, how'd you do? Welcome, DJ. How are you? You did say you would be getting up. I'll go through your comments in a minute. Used to getting up this time for work, says Dave. Oh, well, I appreciate you joining us, mate. Yeah, I usually get up about 6 anyway, to get to work. When I was a hospital porter for the early shift, I used to get up at like 4:30, 20 to 5. Luckily, that wasn't every day. Luckily, that was just like a quarter of the time, a quarter of days. But hello, how do you do? The family theme song. Thank you to the Alan Jones for the music. I must say, yeah. Wow, Signal. I went before we started, mate. Well, I went before we started. By the way, while we're on the subject of you might have seen Avi's article on the Wow Signal, and he puts it very well. I'm going to go through some of the material I went through in the last video, simply because the quality broke down, and for some reason the whole if you may have noticed that it suddenly started, it suddenly broke up in the last half hour of my last video. Just the quality just broke up. And the reason is because, of course, StreamYard, for all its benefits, it does record remotely. So you need something must have happened to my internet connection at that time. Johnny Fettler says, Cambridge time, just got home from abroad, not even sure what day it is. Hello, Green Tea. It's actually Friday today. It is Mars Day. It's the 3rd of October. It is the day when 3i Atlas gets really, really close to Mars. Now, what will it do? That's the question. But on the subject of the Wow Signal, some people notice it's because the Wow Signal came very much from the Sagittarius area. I mean, you can actually see exactly where it came from on here. Let me just have a look. I'll show you. The Wow Signal is also the name for the journal, the online journal of the Hollywood Disclosure Alliance. Here we go. It came from this. This is where it came from. You can see. Well, it's a bit rough, but look, it's somewhere from this area it came from, in Sagittarius. So that's its location. Now, some people have noted how 3i Atlas sort of emerged from the same spot, and people are trying to connect 3i Atlas to the Wow Signal. Maybe they even said, well, maybe 3i sent the Wow Signal. The thing is, though, if you read Abbey, he says, well, it's if we assume that 3i has always been on the same course. Now, I don't. I think it may have come out of a wormhole, probably maybe a couple of months before it was spotted in the beginning of July. it may have come out from a wormhole. But if you imagine it was on that same hyperbolic track, then you have to wind back in time to the 14th of August 1977. Now, where at the time do we theorize that 3i Atlas was? Well, the answer is it was about 600 AU away from us, 600 astronomical units, heading towards the Earth at 36 miles per second, and of course it's just arrived. But if you actually look at it, it's actually a considerable distance. I think it's 9 degrees away from where the wow signal came. I mean, it's impossible to get a range on the wow signal. We don't know where it came from in terms of range. It could have been accidentally. It could have actually been radiated by an orbiting satellite, or it could have come from some black hole in the galactic core. We don't know. Which would be about 40,000 light years away. Yeah, I thought about wormholes. What makes you reckon that, Ben? Simply because if it's a guess, it's a thought experiment, it's a supposition or assumption, because if it hadn't come through a wormhole, then it was traveling at 36 miles per second from wherever it comes from, which means we're talking about billions of years. Assuming it came from the galactic core, then it's literally like 4 billion years or something. 4, 5, 6, 7 billion years. It's literally been traveling all that time. Now, I think the passengers would probably be writing a strongly worded letter to their operator with a delay like that. Even British Rail couldn't get away with that. Oh yeah, I hope you had a good. Yeah, I hope you had a good holiday, Johnny Fettler. I really do. Now, where are we now? Notes. I'll go through your comments. Dave Langston says, I'm seriously tempted to catch the 5 a.m. slot. Retired, so no excuse, I suppose. Hey, Dave, well, I appreciate you doing it. DJ B2 says, good timing, the 5 a.m. stream, as I have to do the weekly food shop at 7 a.m. Hey, it is convenient for you too. That's great. I get up at 6 usually. And Wow Signal says, I'm refrigerating a beer especially for all this. Cheers all. Edit. Accompanied by 2 cold slices of pizza. Oh, bad luck, mate, honestly. Pizza is something you can't really... It doesn't taste the same when you warm it up. It's like fish and chips. You've got to eat it hot, and then if you try and warm it up, it tastes horrible. Neil Peel. My God, Ben, apart from you, who else will be around at 5 a.m. live stream? You need a telescope aimed at Mars. Ooh. Well, I'm pleased to say, Neil, a couple of people have. This is really, really nice. And Red Ibex says first. Thank you, Red Ibex. Oh, nothing as it seems is here. Hello, nothing as it seems. There's no black hole at the center of the Milky Way. Apparently there is, but if you know otherwise, that's cool. Johnny Fettler, I've been living in an Andalusian cave, Green Tea. I recommend it. Oh, nice. Very nice. It's nice warm weather, that part of the world. Have you had plenty of sherry? Nice bits. Proper sherry only comes from Andalusia. And Wow Signal says, would ejections from a wormhole necessitate extreme propulsion? That sounds like a question Ashton Forbes would talk about. I'm afraid when it comes to wormholes, Ashton is kind of like the numero uno. Right. Thanks for those comments, guys. I'll keep that notice up because there's going to be another live stream at 9 p.m. tonight. So I'm coming back pretty soon. Now, I want to ask, let's address a couple of questions to myself, you, the viewers, the people in chat, and everyone else watching, and any other of my fellow 3i Atlasologists, if that's a word. We're all, that's a good, I suppose it's a good word, is 3i Atlasologists. Especially Avi Loeb is the king of the Atlas 3i Atlasologists, and I think we're kind of like we're the princes and sheiks. I haven't checked to see if he's put anything new on his blog, actually. I should do that. Check Avi's blog, Ben. It's a daily routine. Now, the last one was the Extreme Nickel production, which I've covered. He hasn't added anything. That was yesterday. He hasn't added anything since then. But on the subject of population, now we'll find out how big it is today. Oh yeah, it's a good idea. Wow, signal. Ask Ashton. He's the guy. I think he hasn't covered this, Ashton. I don't think he's mentioned this. I haven't checked out all his videos because he's very prolific. He does a couple of live streams a week. That's go on for like 3 hours. But we got to ask the subject of like matter population in interstellar space, because as I was saying, according to Avi, it's really incredible that this remarkable object came through our solar system. When we'd had a Muamua, and that was like a interstellar object. It was quite small. It was very unusual, like its shape and color, and the fact that it exhibited non-gravitational acceleration. I think Avi gave it I think he gave it a 2 on the. He gave it a 2 on the Loeb scale because of those two factors. But then, and then we had Borisov, which scored 0. And Borisov is about as boring as interstellar objects get. It was a comet, basically, very similar to the ones we know of. It must have formed in a solar system very similar to the one we know of. And then everyone was thinking, oh, that's it. Oumuamua was our only chance, and it's gone. That's the only chance to see something alien, and it's gone. And now all we have is like an endless array of like boring comets like Borisov endlessly. And that's all the interstellar space is going to give us now for the next God knows how long, forever, 10 human lifetimes. Well, fortunately, that lament has shown itself to be very premature, because then on comes 3i Atlas, which is even weirder than Oumuamua. And of course, Avi says, well, it's remarkable because we know, as I've explained in the last video, its mass, its size. We know what its mass is. We know its mass is at least 33 billion tons, which means we still are making assumptions about its actual size, its volume. But because we don't, it's the 5 kilometer. That means if you assume it's like a solid rock, basically, which we don't know for certain, then we have to assume its diameter is roughly 5.6 kilometers minimum, but it could be bigger. And Avi said, you're going to get something at 5.6 kilometers. You can expect every 1,000 years or so to come near our solar system. And the answer from the skeptics, the Karen Meaches and the Brian Coxes of this world, is very typical indeed. It's a coincidence. And as I said in the last video, what if we got 2 3i Atlases within 6 months of each other? Oh, that's still a coincidence. We're just lucky. What about 3? Oh, it's still a coincidence. As I've said, there's no statistical ceiling above which a skepper will stop saying coincidence. And the thing is, because they can always say, well, we were just very, very lucky, and they could be right. You see, technically, they could be right. Johnny Fettler. Oh, Johnny, this topic got my attention. I can't go to bed now. Oh, my, Johnny. Honestly, man, I'm sorry to keep you up, mate. I know it's 11 p.m. where you are. But seriously, man, I mean, I've had trouble sleeping whenever I think about this subject. I deliberately had to stop myself thinking about it when I went to bed last night. I did the Herpanlo show, and I just kind of dropped into bed, and I looked at the clock. 4 hours until I have to get up. That's not too bad. I slept well, but the only way I slept was don't think about 3i Atlas. Don't think about 3i Atlas. Because, see, this is the turning point. Because what's going to happen, we don't know specifically what these cameras are going to find out, we don't know specifically what they're going to find out, but we do know that the high-rise camera on the Mars Global or Surveyor has the ability to pick out the size of the nucleus. And that could change everything. I mean, because now if the Skeppers are, there's another alternative. I mean, what the Skeppers are going to have to say at some point is they're going to have to say, well, objects the size of, if it, for example, it's like 40 kilometers across, or something like that, really, really massive. I mean, forget the shape. I mean, if it's shaped like a kind of flying saucer or a flying triangle or something, then all bets are off, and we basically put the shutters down. But supposing it's like roughly circular, or sort of like irregular shape, like a natural object, even if it's not a natural object, then we're going to have to ask the question: They won't have to ask how many of these things are there out there. Because if we're just lucky, there must. I mean, maybe what if there are? Because the skeptic are going to have to say, well, objects that size must be very common. In that case, you've got to ask the question: how come you can see the stars? Why can we see the stars? Because if objects of that size out there were that common, there'd be so many of them in interstellar space, they'd form a kind of fog. They'd be like particles. They form. If you think about the distances to the stars and the amount of space, and there's these objects 40 kilometers across flying around everywhere. They would obscure our view of the universe. The sky would look completely black. Apart from the sun, the moon, and the planets, we wouldn't see anything because the sky would be completely black. Because we're in a part of the galaxy, it's actually quite the star population is quite low. It's quite thin compared to inside the galactic arms, let alone the galactic core. There are no stars within. The closest is 4 light years away. So it is likely we're either extremely lucky or it's not an accident. I mean, even if, for example, it is just 5.6 kilometers across, that's still huge. That's like way bigger. That's like 20 times the size of Borisov and 1,000,000 times the size of a Muamua. So the craft, there's plenty of craft in orbit around Mars. As I mentioned, right, this is going to be tricky. It's going to be tricky for them to explain this away. If they don't get any decent photos of 3i Atlas now, and we know that apparently NASA are doing this. Now, as far as I know, there's no live streams of control rooms. Is there a live stream of the NASA control room? Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Sometimes they have like live, NASA Live. Here we go. Earth from space. High definition views from the International Space Station. Oh, it's the Interstellar News Hub. Mars passing today. Oh, right. What's this though? Is this It's a live stream. Is it a live stream from the control room though? Is it from the mission control room? That's what I want to see. I want to see it live. I want to see them getting this data live. No. But I'll give you some idea. I'll keep that on in the background. I don't know if it'll affect my. Anyway, you see 33 minutes to go. Apparently they seems they've timed it. At least this video has timed it to a precise moment. Oh, there's some music playing in the background as well. But Green Tea says, I can't wrap my brain around space at all. I'm still amazed at how bright the moon must be in order for us to see it as bright as it is. Look how fast our high beam headlights fall away. Yes, because it's very big. It reflects light from the sun. And it's very, very big. The moon is big enough in the celestial sphere. And a bright full moon, you can cast a shadow. You can see very clearly at night under a bright full moon. Yeah. We're lucky, to live in this kind of universe. We could have had our planet could have been like near the galactic center or the heart of a globular cluster or something where there's just stars everywhere. Like in that book Nightfall, by that story by Isaac Asimov called Nightfall, which is set on a planet which is very like the Earth. But it's very like the Earth, but it's in the center of a globular cluster. And so there's no nighttime at all. There's just continuous daylight, and people don't even know there is a universe. Astronomy doesn't exist apart from like studying the various suns in the sky. Astronomy just does not exist as a science. No one's ever really looked at it, so it's never developed. So Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter is the main one they're talking about here with this high-rise camera. But you see, there were 5 space agencies operating 8 orbiters around Mars. It's quite extraordinary when you consider that we're only just over 60 odd years since the Mariner probe. But the high-rise camera is the one we're all talking about, but it's not the only one. There's the MAVEN, the Mars Atmosphere and Volatile Evolution Orbiter. This has sensors that can study the Martian atmosphere, but it it could, if material from the comet reaches Mars, and we know it's 18 million miles is too far away. It's not going to appear inside the coma. The coma's not quite that big, but it could be some material from the comet, or if it was comet. I'm just reading from here. This is from the fount of wisdom that is Google AI. It's from the object might reach them. And as the twin orbiters of Escapade recently launched satellites to monitor this will monitor the object's impact on the planet's magnetosphere and response to space weather. And there's the Curiosity and Perseverance and Zhurong rovers. These are 3 craft that are on the surface of Mars right now. Zhurong, Curiosity, Perseverance. They have wheels and they're literally roving. They're moving around. They may be able to observe the comet at night, providing additional data points, even though their cameras won't be able to do much more than that because they're not designed for it. There's the Mars Express from the European Space Agency. And apparently the ESA is planning to use its high-resolution stereo camera, HRSC, to capture images of the comet, of the object. So I'm reading from Google AI. Sorry, guys. For the object, as I say, I don't believe it's a comet. It might be, but I think it's unlikely. That alone could just tell you what shape it is, and that's very, very important to know whether it's elongated, spherical, irregular, or like a flying saucer or flying triangle or something else, or tic-tac. Could be a giant tic-tac. And the TGO Trace Gas Orbiter, that's the ESA probe with the color and stereo surfacing imaging system, CASIS, which could also be used to observe the object. It has a Nomad spectrometer, Mars, and these, along with the Mars Express Omega and SpyCam spectrometers, will be able to measure the chemical spectrum of the coma very, very accurately. But the signal might not be bright enough. There's the HOPE probe from the United Arab Emirates. This is the Emirates' first interplanetary mission, which has a what's called the Mars ultraviolet spectrometer that could detect ultraviolet emissions from the object's coma. But they apparently have no official plan to turn their instrument away from Mars. So, and that's a good point, actually, because this is always going to be limited, because there'll be members of the teams who are operating these probes who will say they can only do this for a while, and some of them are going to be like going, "Come on, guys, can we go back to looking at Mars? That's what this thing was made for." Better known one is the Tianwen-1 orbiter from China. It carries a high resolution camera, and it says here. They can study a lot of composition, but they say here, comet activity at perihelion. Since 3i Atlas will be on the far side of the sun during its most active period, Mars-based observations offer a unique opportunity to study the comet's outgassing for potential outbursts or fragmentation. If it is a comet, I have to keep stressing. How well that will be, I don't know, you see, because these objects are not, these probes, like the high-rise camera and these other cameras, they're not telescopes. They're not designed for that purpose. They're being repurposed for something they weren't invented for, and so there's going to be some limitations. Now, I know a lot of people are saying things like, let's go back to your comments. Is the Perseverance rover still going, says Green Tea? Apparently. We all know NASA never shuts down, right? No, and of course it has to run its spacecraft 24/7. But I'll just go to that. Maybe I'll go to their official website. Never a straight answer. And see what they say. See if they've got anything to do with 3i. I mean, right now in mission control, obviously there's activity going on. NASA Live. NASA shows to watch. What's this then? I'm curious if they have a live stream from Mission Control. That's what I'd like to know.
Ignition. T-10.
NASA shows to watch the fall. Oh, this.
We are now at the point where we can.
That's a trailer for some documentary. So Yeah, I mean, the thing about it is, I mean, of course, a lot of people are thinking, oh, they won't get any good pictures because they'll say things like, well, it didn't work for some reason. We had a breakdown. We lost the signal. The operator called in sick and we couldn't find anyone to replace them. You know, sand in the camera, that kind of thing. But that's going to be, I think if NASA had like one probe orbiting Mars, they could pull that excuse off. But not when there's 8 probes from 5 separate space agencies. One of them, at least, they can't like say all of them. Well, all of them broke down. We can't do that. They won't get away with that. They won't get away. It won't work. Because you see, despite what I said about astronomy being the only true democratic science, right now it's not. Because of the fact that 3i Atlas is, by incredibly bad luck or design on its part, or its pilots, 3i Atlas is deliberately being stealthy and elusive, or we're incredibly unlucky, and Earth is in the worst possible place for observing it. Earth telescopes are getting literally just a few minutes to look at the thing before it gets completely lost in the pre-dawn glare and then the sun rises. And pretty soon those 3 minutes are going to shrink to none. And for about a month, we won't be able to see a damn thing until it emerges from the other side of the solar conjunction, if it emerges in the way we expect. But this tweet I recommend very much. Here we go. Hang on. I recommend this. And this anomaly stacking up. This is a very good tweet. I retweeted this one. 3i Atlas is not behaving as a natural comet. Observational data from multiple instruments presents anomalies that can't be reconciled with standard cometary models. Attempts to explain the data with known physics leads to internal contradictions. The cumulative weight points towards an object of artificial origin, potentially engineered to appear comet-like. That's interesting. So whoever designed it wants it to look a bit like a comet they're probably thinking, well, let's make it look like a comet so it can slip into the solar system or through the solar system unnoticed, and those silly humans won't ever recognize it for what it is. Which, of course, hasn't worked. So they've underestimated us if that's the case. Despite the fact that none of these, each of these factors, if they were on their own, neither of them would be on their own revolutionary. Yet you put them all together, and the cumulative weight, as it says here, does reject the official hypothesis. Non-gravitational acceleration. JWST measured heavy outgassing, yet orbital solutions remain purely gravitational, with a deviation of less than 15 meters per day. Yeah, in other words, it's keeping steady. It's like it's controlled on a particular course. There's some kind of propulsion. There's some kind of propulsion system that keeps it on a steady velocity and track. And either that or it's huge. As I said, it's got to be absolutely massive. We don't know how big it is. If it turns out to be much smaller than 33 billion tons, then we're going to have to say, well, it must have some form of propulsion, and so it goes up on the lobe scale. Negative polarization. I don't understand that bit. And we have carbon dioxide water ratio near 8, far outside solar system norms requiring exotic composition. Yeah. Now that on its own, you could say was, well, it formed billions of years ago in a star in the galactic core. Of course, it's going to be different. I mean, indeed, if this is a natural object, I doubt that, but if it does turn out to be a natural object, it's going to be a very, very interesting one, isn't it? Martin Cordner. Now, Martin Cordner, he's quite cool, actually. I had an interview with him. Water activity began at 3.5 AU. Oh, wait, oxygen hydrogen detections imply large active surface, inconsistent with nuclear size limits from HST. Oh, that's actually OH. There means something else. But basically, there's this contradiction. Dust activity at 6.5 AU. That's about the distance of Jupiter. Outgassing began at distances too great for water ice sublimation. Light curve slope break. Brightening, yes. It got bright much quicker. Brightening steeper and then flattened, unexplained by smooth sublimation, yeah. Nickel without iron, again. You see, the very sudden brightening of the object. Well, it was always a bit brighter than it should have been, but then suddenly, about a couple of weeks ago, it started suddenly getting much, much brighter. Nickel without iron. Spectroscopy shows nickel lines, but weak or absent iron, not normal cometary ratio. Yeah, nickel and iron form together. They couldn't. The only way we can separate nickel from iron in that we know of, the only method of separating nickel from iron is industrial smelting. There's a smelting method to separate them, but it has to be done by humans in a forge. It never happened in nature. So this is basically it's a pure metal, which is normally always in nature appears as an alloy, and here suddenly it appears we see it as an alloy or compound, and here we see it like separate. How did that happen? And we have dicarbon, green glow with strong dicarbon, classic comet green without the expected molecules. Sunward plume without thrust, yeah. Comet elongation towards the sun persists with no measurable push on nucleus. That's going back to the first point, non-gravitational acceleration. Again, Cordner, he's the guy who's done this. Martin Cordner he's actually quite cool compared to like Karen Meach. He's actually quite a cool guy. His interview is quite good. He disagrees with Avi, but he doesn't like swear and get angry. And he does admit that Avi has raised some interesting anomalies that need. He says, "Wow, even the statistical stuff, like the circumstantial evidence to do with the the trajectory, the fact it's zodiacal, timing, stuff like that." Contradictions. Here we are. Water activity requires a large active surface, while brightening modeling requires a small nucleus. Polarization anomalies require exotic dust, while gas-dominated signatures conflict with that assumption. Outgassing rate should impart thrust, yet the orbit remains gravitational. Conclusion. The evidence cannot be unified under a natural comet framework. The multiple anomalies stack into mutually exclusive requirements. The most consistent explanation is that 3I is artificial, designed to present comet-like emissions while concealing its true nature. So it's this kind of a camouflage. It's like the soldiers putting like bits of twig and leaf and ferns on their helmets. It's just like that. That's what. So the aliens are trying to stop it being spotted, which is very interesting. Oh, only gone coffee this time in the morning. Anyway, let's go through your comments, guys. What type of living what if it's a type of living organism? Oh yeah, like like in that film Nope, where the alien is actually a kind of creature. That film is quite. I'm a bit kind of like I'm a bit of an outlier here, because everyone who comments on the film Nope the film Nope. This is a Jordan Peele movie. He goes, "Oh, it's so wonderful! It's the best film ever made, and I think it's fantastic." Everyone keeps saying that, and I think that's actually. I say it's okay. It's not bad, and it is. I'd give it 5 out of 10. But it's interesting. It's worth watching. Nope, actually, it's just worth watching. Green tea. If it doesn't emerge from the other side, that's a whole new can of worms. Did it land or make a 90-degree turn? Exactly. Exactly. See, this is why if NASA or any of the space agents even if they collaborate and say we're not going to get any, or we're not going to photograph 3I Atlas, or if they do photograph it and it looks like a spaceship, they're not going to publish those. They're not going to publish the data. I think they know. Or supposing it's in perihelion and they see it slowing down, doing a reverse Oberth maneuver. How on earth are they going to get away with that in the long run? How are they going to get? They must know. Look, we can only keep this charade up for another few weeks, because at some point, Earth-based telescopes are going to start looking for the point where it emerges from conjunction. And when it doesn't turn up, what are people going to think? They can't keep this forever. They can't keep this secret forever. This is why 3I is so important. It's not like Roswell. It's not a crash retrieval. A crash retrieval is a strictly local affair. You just put a fence around it, get rid of the evidence, and say it was a weather balloon. You can't do that for something out in space that everyone can see. DJ B2, I have heavy outgassing when I drink too much lager. Yeah, that's true. Ah, yes, Green Tea. Wow Signal says they will say it disintegrated. Yeah, now cometary evaporation does happen, or fragmentation. Usually the sun grazers, because you get like objects that come really close to the sun where it gets incredibly hot, and the ones that go inside the orbit of Mercury, like Elenin, that broke apart because it got so hot that the ice all melted, all the ice and volatiles melted. It was just basically left with a rock skeleton, and it seems that the ice was holding it all together as like glue, and so it basically turned from something solid into like a ball of sand, basically, and then it flew apart. The tidal forces caused by its very close change to the sun. There was tidal force. In other words, the gravitational field was different on different parts of the object. It was so close to the sun, and so it just broke apart. Now that's going to be very hard to sell. Right, fragmentation is going to be difficult to sell. Now, Avi hasn't commented on this, but several other people have. It's firstly, it's very, very big. So it's large. We know that. Elenin was tiny compared to this. Elenin was a tiny thing. I don't know why there was so much fuss about Elenin, actually. I think it was only because it had a name similar to Ellie, which was a fictional comment in the Deep Impact movie. And the problem you have there is that it's very, very big for a start. Secondly, its perihelion is 1.8 AU. It's not a sun grazer. Look, let's just advance this to perihelion. I'll show you. It's not much further away from the sun now than it will be at perihelion. Look at it. That's perihelion. 29th of October is actually perihelion. And you can see it's actually not much further away than it is right now. So it's not much closer to the sun than it is now. 1.8 AU. So 1.2 AU. Let's just get these things right. You can't even see it. Sorry, you can't even see it. There it is at perihelion. All right. And you can see it's like, you see how you can see exactly how far away it is from Mars. Sorry, from the sun, which is really not much. It's not going to get much closer to the sun than it is now. And after perihelion, it'll just be moving away, and it'll get cooler. Now, you can just see. Look, if it come past 6 months earlier, Earth would be there. We'd have a ringside seat. So either that's incredibly bad luck, or it wanted to avoid the Earth deliberately. So you see what it is now. That's where it is now. Let's just have a look at the statistics. Yeah, perihelion 1.3 AU. That's it. So that's its perihelion, but it's not that much further away now. So it's not going to. If it's not like disintegrating now, how much more likely is it to do in the next couple of weeks? That'll be a hard sell, and everyone knows. I think they know that they won't be able to sell the disintegration line if it just completely evaporates. Okay, where are we now? Okay, you can see the headlines now. Yeah, wow, they won't be able to keep it. They won't be able to keep this quiet. Space creature humps the moon. Greys flee in terror. Yeah, that's straight out the Daily Star. That is, isn't it? DJ, but to be serious, we do not know enough to prove the existence of spaceborne life forms. Well, we don't know specifically. We know that, but we know there's a non-human intelligence active on the Earth right now. Could be a flying egg. It must be a big one if that's so. I wouldn't want to meet the bird that laid that. And we have somebody here with a name in a foreign language, which is, I think, Persian or Arabic. What if it's a 5D object? Well, apparently everything is 5D, isn't it? Because it has higher dimensions. Oh, we have someone here. We've got someone new. Welcome. Rosana Melis from Chile. Hello, Rosana. Welcome. Pardon me. Welcome, Rosanna, and I appreciate you joining us. It must be a decent hour of the night where you are. It's early morning here. It's coming up to 6 a.m. Does Uranus ever suffer from heavy outgassing? Says Wow Signal. Yes, come on in. Come on. Let's have these unoriginal Uranus jokes going. Keep them going. I'll select the best one at the end. Rosanna says, my theory is Atlas is an object feminine in parts. Feminine in parts, right. So it's like is that like an astrological thing, Rosanna? Is that what you mean? Which I have an open mind. I'm open-minded about that. Green tea. If I was an alien right now, I'd probably avoid the Earth. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I mean, what would we, supposing it was close to us and it decided, and it didn't disguise itself as a comet, what would we do? Well, to begin with, the queues at the shop and toilet paper come to mind, and also nuclear missiles being put on high alert. Yeah, maybe they just don't want to get too close to us for that reason. This is why maybe the UFOs that are already here and the aliens keep out of our way, and they are elusive. We know they don't want generally themselves widely known about. So they are deliberately stealthy, and they avoid human contact, except in certain circumstances, and things like abduction, contact, stuff like that. Now, Martin Cordner. Somebody left a comment on my blog article about Martin Cordner, and he said, yeah, great interview from Martin Cordner of the James Webb team on the composition of the 3i Atlas comet. And there's this particular, I watched all of this actually, and I found it very interesting. I think it was John Paul Gordia, whatever his name is. Let's let you see this. But anyway, you can see, you won't have to play this, but you can see it here. It's on, yeah. Oh, Event Horizon. That's the channel. This is Martin Cordner.
You have fallen into Event Horizon with John Michael.
This is, and I actually said it. This was interesting. I guess Martin Cordner disagrees with Avi Loeb, but he's not closed-minded. Yeah. DJ B2, I better put extra toilet paper on this morning's shopping list. Oh, goodness me, when you go off on that morning shop, like you said in the notice comments, yeah. You can't have a good apocalypse story without a toilet paper element. It's essential. But anyway, this person was gloating in the comments section saying, the same channel interviewed Avi Loeb last week, if you're interested. Yeah, I did watch that as well. It's old, and the comet, the object is old, and we know where it come from. It's even older than our solar system, which sort of discounts it being an alien visitor coming to say hello to us, specifically or even unintendedly. In other words, nah, it's not aliens. And I thanked him for the link, and I said I'd like to hear all sides of the story. But I watched the interview, and I said I've watched it, and it's pretty good. Despite what you said, it does not really discount 3i being an alien visitor. Martin Cordner sounds quite open-minded, more so than I expected. He didn't reject the circumstantial evidence. He's really just guessing, even more so than Avi Loeb. And he doesn't, he did, when the presenter brought up the subject, well, it's really amazing. It's zodiacal, and it's time to go past the planets at a certain time and avoid the Earth. He said, he didn't sort of say, no, that's just a coincidence, and Avi Loeb is a nutcase. He didn't say that. He actually said, well, that is remarkable. That is really remarkable. And that is very unexpected. He said that. So he's quite open-minded. I was pleasantly surprised by that. Hello, Hatchy. Crikey, Ben, you're up early. I'm still in bed with the dog. Don't tell your wife. But, yeah, mate, how are you doing? Well, thanks for joining us at this early hour. Thank you. This is the Vigil. This is the 3i Atlas Mars Vigil. At this moment, 3i Atlas is actually at its closest point of approach to Mars. Let's have a look. And you can see where it is.
At AJ Bell, we're all about making investing easy. So easy, you can open an award-winning ISA in under 15 minutes.
There we are. 6 minutes to go, according to this. 6 minutes to go until it is actually there exactly. I don't know how they've timed it so closely, but because it's according to Wikipedia, it just said 4 a.m. UTC, which is about an hour ago now. There you go. But that's that there. But welcome. I wonder how they managed to figure out its age. From where it's a guess based on its trajectory, where it came from the galactic core. It's not from the local standard of rest. In other words, it didn't form along with the kind of stars that surround the Earth. So it's much older than the stars which the Sun is a population of. So it can't be from that sort of area. So if it is being, it could have explained. If it's 3i is trying to disguise it, it could be trying to disguise itself as a comet. If it's an artificial object, that makes it even more interesting, because it's trying to avoid our detection, which it hasn't succeeded in doing, but it tried. Now, there was a coronal mass ejection the other day, and those are very interesting, because they because very often when CMEs hit a comet, sometimes it temporarily disperses the tail, and it can even fragment comets sometimes if it's a small comet. Mostly the sun grazers. But as I just said, the solar storm actually passed a few days ago. It's possible when the effects that it had on this object will still be visible right now when it's being photographed by the Mars probes. As I said, these Mars probes at the moment are the only way we can see 3i right now. It's the only way. So the reaction to the CME may still be visible right now. And the question is, how long will it take them to publish the data? This is the thing, because if you think about it. All right, here we go. When is it due near Earth, Ben? Says Hatchie. Right, well, Hatchie, if it stays on its current trajectory, it'll reach its perigee. That's its closest point of approach to Earth, which is quite a long way, actually. In fact, it is, I'll tell you exactly, 1.7 AU on December the 19th. This is when it's way past perihelion. At that point, it's going to be its closest point to the, when it's its closest point to the approach to the Earth, yeah. Oh, is there an ESA live stream? Right, that's a good question. I'll check in a moment. I need to take a quick break, guys. We'll be back in a sec. There we go. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. I just needed to take a quick break. I'll just check that, actually. That's a good point. Is there an ESA live stream? Let's have a look. There may be even one from the UAE or China. Let's have a look. Right. I know they have a channel a bit like European Space Agency Live. Here we go.
Right.
There's no ongoing live missions, and there's no ongoing live shows, it seems. No, nothing.
3.
Okay. I'll just try putting like a bit of 3i Atlas live and see what happens. I'll probably get... There's a load of bollocks. Look, you see, the 3i Atlas changed course. It's absolute bollocks, these sort of things. Let's live. Let's just have a look. 3i Atlas live. Real life tracking of 3i Atlas. Oh, this guy. He's like an astronomer. Oh, he is live streaming. Oh no, that's not live. That's already recorded. Oh, I don't know if any other people are getting up this time of day in my time zone. Live tracking of. Oh, this is one of the ones we've just seen. Nothing from the official. Oh, it's me and me. Yeah, and there's this one which we've just seen. Oh. Oh, look, NASA's Juno spacecraft is crashing into Jupiter tonight, is it? That's odd. Is it really? They're actually deorbiting it tonight? I thought they were deorbiting it in November. I don't know if that's true or not. Live tracking 3. Yeah, I can't see anything, actually. Yeah, but that's a good question, that is, Wow Signal, yeah. We should have an early Christmas. Well, it is interesting just before Christmas. I will do something for the perigee. So, assuming it's still on that course, it may. If it's not on the same trajectory, then I think it's going to be a very unusual Christmas. We're going to be writing to Santa Claus asking for like survival kits and a lorry load of toilet paper, aren't we? Yeah, wow! Thanks, Wow Signal. Yeah, it's good to see it because I'm doing a live thing for 3i Atlas. I'm quite high up in the rankings. I've got 15 people watching, which is not bad. I mean, it says 15. It's probably more than that. It's probably much more than that. Sometimes I have more people in chat than I do actual views. It's gone down to 14 now, you see, because I think Google is deliberately it's delegitimizing me. Google is deliberately doing that. So the question is, what will happen during perihelion? Because Avi was theorizing this, and I think he may be right. If we assume it is going to remain elusive and it's going to deliberately camouflage itself as an artifact, something intelligently created, it is trying to hide itself. It must know that Earth is the planet with the only planet where there's like intelligent life, and there's precious little of that on this planet, I'll tell you. But if that's the case, it may choose to do something truly alien that reveals its true nature while it is in perihelion and in conjunction with the Earth, with the Sun and Earth. So the reverse O-berth maneuver. This is basically what the O-berth maneuver is where you use the gravity of a natural object like a planet, a large gravitational field generator, a planet in other words, or the Sun, to aid your propulsion. It's also known as the slingshot effect. And we know our own spacecraft use this all the time. We use O-berth maneuvers all the time. I think the New Horizons probe used Venus for an O-berth maneuver, so it could leave the inner solar system and get to Pluto with using minimal rocket fuel. But these slingshot effects work the other way. You get a reverse O-berth maneuver where you use the gravity of a natural body to slow you down rather than speed you up. And if it could be that 3i will use that method to slow itself down till it reaches a speed where it enters solar orbit, and therefore it is indefinitely. Therefore it can stay indefinitely within the solar system. Now, if there's two questions, right, because if that happens, the only assets we have right now that can image the object in perihelion are the Mars probes. The space telescopes can't look because they can't look directly at the sun. In fact, James Webb will be badly damaged if it turns more than 85 degrees towards the sun, because its lens and phosphor are very sensitive. It's an infrared telescope. It has to be kept at a very low temperature. It has a sun shield specifically for that. The Sphere and the Sphere X and the Hubble Space Telescopes are in orbit around the Earth, so they basically they don't have any better view than terrestrial telescopes do. So and these Mars probes, things like the HiRISE camera and these other cameras that these objects have, they're not telescopes. They're not designed for this sort of thing. They're not designed to look at things like that. They're designed to look at Mars. So, firstly, they're not there's two problems there. Firstly, they may not be capable of seeing it very, very well. Secondly, the teams running these probes are going to say they're going to get fed up with this, and they're going to say at some point, "All right, look, we've taken some nice pictures for you as it came past Mars. Could we please go back to looking at Mars now? That's the purpose of this probe." It's going to be difficult. Those teams are going to start getting agitated, and they're going to start getting bolshy about the whole thing, because they're going to get fed up with this repurposing. So there may be a rebellion within the ranks. Hachi says, Ben, if it hits, do you know where it might land? If it hits, it's not due to impact anything. I mean, so what do you mean exactly, Hachi? Could you clarify? Now, the other question is, now, like I say, astronomy is not democratic right now because the space agencies are basically guarding the keyhole which we look through. So, will they publish what they find out? I think they will. They may delay it quite a bit, because especially if they do see something particularly alien about this thing, they may be reluctant. Even if it's only kind of tacitly and subconsciously, they will be reluctant. I think a long delay in publication of this data will be suspicious. And what's more, people will be, I think everyone, including Avi and his like supporters like myself, will be sort of hammering on their door at some point saying, could you please show me this stuff now? Could you please send us the data now? And they'll say, no, we're still preparing it for publication. Just send us the bloody pictures, will you? Send us the damn readouts. Send us the raw data. We don't care. We just want to know. And I think at some point they will give in, because they know they can't keep it secret forever, because after conjunction, if, for example, they see it do a reverse Oberth maneuver, now they as I said, and it does not appear where we expect it to be after conjunction, or it appears in a different place, everyone is going to know that at some point terrestrial telescopes will see it again, or they'll expect to see it again, and it won't be there. They're going to say, look, where's this thing gone? And as I said, saying, well, it fragmented or evaporated won't work. Pardon me, it won't work. Yeah. Actually, will we see it in the sky? Yes, we will. In fact, it's when it reaches perigee, it's actually going to be visible with like a backyard telescope of like modest backyard telescope, I think. Wow Signal says it could be seeding Mars with AI nanobots. Yeah, Avi uses the word gadgets. But I mean, it could be releasing smaller objects, intelligently controlled objects. These could be spacecraft with aliens on board, or they could be machines, artificial nanobots and things. Could be, yeah. We don't know. We don't know what their technological capabilities are, except they exceed our own by quite a long way. So at some point we're going to find out. In the next couple of months, we're going to know one way or another. I mean, if that happens, forget Juno. I mean, all this fuss. Well, when it goes past Jupiter, we can use the Juno probe to examine it. Well, that's been ruled out, apparently. That's been ruled out. Are they deorbiting now? They're going to deorbit. I heard they were going to deorbit the Juno probe in November. Are they deorbiting? Because I've just seen a video saying it's being deorbited now. Let me just ask. Let's just go back to that fount of wisdom. Is the Juno probe going to be used to observe 3I Atlas? Let's spell right. It throws a wobbly if you can't spell. It says, what do you mean if you make a spelling mistake? Yes. Oh, right. Yes. Scientists are proposing to use the Juno spacecraft to intercept the object with a proposed maneuver event on September the 9th. That will alter Juno's orbit. Oh, this is interesting. To intercept 3I Atlas on March the 14th. This would allow its instruments to study the object from a close distance. The plan. The primary goal, which is to crash into Jupiter and send it to meet the primary goal is to alter Juno's planned path, which is deorbiting, and send it to meet 3i instead. The specific maneuver involved is use. All right. Is it already happened then? September the 9th? That was a few weeks ago. The spacecraft will encounter 3i Atlas. All right, so they are going to do it. Are they actually going to do it? This is from 2 days ago, BBC Sky at night. Interstellar comet could be 3i Atlas, could be soon be seen. Get out of the way. Could be soon be seen by spacecraft as Mars, Jupiter, and Sun. All right, the interstellar comet. Wow. So they're actually going to do it. A relic from the cosmic universe. That's what they're saying. They think it's so old. It's from a time when the galaxy was really young. The Europeans. This is talking about Mars here. What about Juno? Juno missions, Jupiter missions. There are 3 spacecraft intended for observation. Yeah. So they're going to do it. Are they going to do it? Wow. Oh, Hachi says, is it like to hit planet Earth? The planet us on Earth? No. It would have to change course very radically to impact planet Earth. If that's its intention, if it wanted to impact the planet Earth, why didn't it just do it straight away? Why is it going all the way to the other side of the solar system and then sort of turning around and then hitting us? If it wanted to impact us like it was a missile of some kind, Starship Trooper style, why didn't it just attack the Earth and crash into it at interstellar speeds? A self-assembling alien invasion force. Well, the thing is, WoW Signal, it's the wrong planet. If they're going to invade Mars, fair enough, but it's the wrong planet. They may want to set up a Mars base. It may maybe attempt to set up a Mars colony or something. Yeah, that is a possibility. What it could do is it might. If it carries out a reverse Oberth maneuver and slows down and enters solar orbit, it may do that out of our sight, and it may try to stay out of our sight as it approaches Earth. If it wants to approach Earth, this could actually be a way of it approaching Earth, because it's entered the solar system in a way that makes it very, very difficult for us to spot. And then when it gets here, it then enters solar orbit out of our sight, then it may want to remain out of our sight. Technically speaking, it could approach the Earth in an orbit that keeps it in conjunction, which means we won't see it because it's going to be sheltered by the solar glare the whole way. We might not see it until it's like really, really close, inside the orbit of the moon or something. Like a cat creeping up on a bird, says WoW Signal. That's a chilling way of putting it, but yeah. No, it just doesn't mean its intentions are hostile. I mean, if the aliens wanted to get rid of us, why haven't they? I mean, we know they're not. We know there is a malevolent aspect to some aliens. We know that they do things which are harmful, abductions, mutilations, etc. So there is a threat from extraterrestrial intelligence. But I mean, I don't see what. If that doesn't keep you awake at night, what difference does one more spaceship make? There's no reason to think this is going to do us any harm any more than any of the others. So the question is, I mean, are we going to see any? Maybe they'll like to toy with us, like a cat playing with a mouse. Oh God! Oh my goodness me! WoW Signal, I'm sure you could write the sequel to the third sequel to Independence Day. Oh, please make it better than the last two, if you do. Oh God, I'm tired. All right. But I knew I thought I might regret doing this live stream, but it's not so bad. I'm glad I did it now. I know I said in the last video I wouldn't do it, but I'm glad I did it now. I did decide to do that. So what's next? What's next? This. I'm sure there's. I wonder if is there a Google logo. Let's just see if they put up a Google logo about this. No, there's no Google logo. Oh my goodness me. There may well be one at some point. You could even try to design one. That's the question. You may be able to design a Google logo especially for this. 3i Atlas and Mars, or if it comes towards the Earth, 3i Atlas and Earth. I mean, it's the fact of the matter is, we share this universe with intelligent life that is far more, which is far more advanced than ourselves. They interact with us and have been since time immemorial. We don't know when this interaction started, but it was in prehistoric times. Despite the fact that people have had unpleasant experiences with aliens, they have been responsible for disappearances, injuries, even deaths. Generally speaking, if you give me a list of things that I'm scared of in my life, things that I think are a threat to humanity and to my own life and to the life of my nearest and dearest, aliens are pretty low on that list. I mean, yeah, Keir Starmer is up here somewhere, and aliens are all the way down here. I mean, when you think of all the horrible things happening in the world, just yesterday we had a terrorist attack. We had a horrible event that's happened in Manchester, or near Manchester, in Greater Manchester. A man attacked a synagogue. He rammed a group of people with his car, and he stabbed a couple of people to death. He injured some more. He was shot by the police, but he had like an explosive belt. I think he wanted to get into the synagogue and detonate the explosives and kill more people. There's Keir Starmer, who wants to bring in national identity cards, which will create a big brother state. It's pretty clear Tony Blair is pulling his strings. There's all the other things I talk about on Hapanwo, which are really, really nasty, frightening things that are going on in this world. The aliens are the last things. One of the fewer things I'm worried about right now. But if you, for example, combine the malevolence of government with the extraterrestrial phenomena, I think the biggest risk in this situation, I mean, you could say, well, it's the truth embargo, but it's also the possibility that, as Missing Trillions has often said, and many other people who comment on the videos, they could, whether they created this system, whether this is a secret space program craft, or whether it just happens to be a natural object or an alien, they could use this as the Black Swan event to start the fake alien invasion scenario. The Project Bluebeam thing. I've discussed this on previous videos, and no doubt it'll probably come up again this evening. I may bring that up again this evening in more detail. Starmer behaves like an alien. If all the aliens were like him, we'd be dead. In fact, the universe would be destroyed, because they'd have found some way to just obliterate the universe with some giant particle collider or something. Not quite fully human. No. I mean, if anyone doubts there's such a thing as reptilians, just look into the eyes of Keir Starmer and Tony Blair, man. Just look at the demonic entities inside them. I'll tell you what. James Bartley. I mean, he's a good guy too. James Bartley is cool, actually. I actually was watching something by James Bartley the other day. What was it? He's done an audio about 3i Atlas, which is actually very interesting. Even though I disagree with some of the things he says, I'll go through my history. I disagree with some of the things he says, but his take is very, very interesting indeed. That'll take a while to cook. I mean, he's not scared to mention the R word, the reptilian humanoids. There's my Wikipedia box. It's going to appear under this video now. I mentioned the lizards. Yes, I did. I mentioned the lizards. Yeah, here we go. ET interest. This is it. He has a podcast. Here we go. James Bartley, the Cosmic Switchboard. He's pretty cool. It's him with the aliens and Bigfoot and things like that. Let's have a look at here. This is pretty interesting. Is this the one? Yeah, this is the one. ET interest in nuclear weapons. Bartley commentary 100. I met James Bartley actually. He was at RepCon. I think this is the actual one because he mentions this guy, Zhenhu Shen, the rocket scientist, Chinese rocket scientist, trained at Caltech, co-founder of the JPL. And he mentions 3i in this. Yeah, he mentions 3i Atlas in this audio, so check that out. Blair is now Viceroy of Gaza, for fuck's sake. Oh, goodness me. Oh, God, help the people of Gaza, man. God, help the people of Gaza. He wants to control, and in this sort of aftermath of the war, he wants he's been put as UN, executive controller or something of the region. The first thing he's going to do, of course, is anyone who survived the war, he's just going to give them ID cards, isn't he? Oh, blimey, poor. I mean, surely they must realize this, because what happened during his last intervention in the Middle East? How many Iraqis died? How many hundreds of thousands of Iraqis died? As the late great Ian R. Crane, who I miss very, very much, he said, I was watching TV and I saw Tony Blair. I mean, there used to be a recording of this, which is very hard to get hold of now, where someone actually challenged Blair on this. And Blair usually gets these really softball interviews, and he has done since, where he just gets to grandstand. But he actually was faced with a reporter who had just a tiny bit of bloody balls and said to him, "Look, Mr. Blair, surely you realise, 500,000 Iraqis died during this operation, which you sort of instigated. How can you possibly justify this?" And he says, "I justify it because it was only 100,000. Only 100,000." Yeah, typical psychopath. It'll be a Blair Oracle situation in full effect. Yeah, I mean, why won't he go away? I mean, why won't he retire or something? He's a member of every single organisation that promotes internationalism and authoritarianism. He wants to be EU president. Everything about his political career is about the New World Order. Everything. And so who the fuck is scared of 3i Atlas with everything else going on, with all that going on, eh? Who else? How can you possibly be scared of a little thing out in space, which might come near us and might, who God knows what it'll do? But I mean, I'm much more scared of people like Blair than I am of any alien. I really am. All right then, guys, I'm going to have to get ready for work, but I really appreciate this. I really do. This has been bloody cool. I'm so glad I did this. When I was going to bed last night, I thought I'm going to bloody regret this when I have to get up in the morning. But I got up like a shot. I slept quite well, up like a shot, out of bed, and yeah, I was Larry Ellison and Musk Starlink control grid. God blimey. Yeah, do you see? We live in this world where there's all these horrible things going on. We have this elite class, this political class that is truly malevolent, that is at war against humanity. I understand why the aliens do want to avoid us, and they've entered the solar system specifically to keep out of our way and hope we won't see them. It didn't work, but I think their hope was that we just wouldn't notice them. Anyway. Thank you very much to the WoW Signal, 6EQUJ5. Thanks for joining me. Thanks to Hatchy, to DJ B2. Thank you for joining me. Green Tea. Thank you very much. Rosanna Mellis, thank you very much. Welcome to the show, new viewer. Johnny Fettler. How do you do? This person here who has an Arabic name. Thank you very much, whoever you are. I can't read that. Are you in the Middle East? God blimey. What time is it in the Middle East? It must be sort of like maybe early morning where you are. And whoever else is there. Dave is there. Dave Langston, he's there too. Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Dave Langston. So thanks to especially the Brits and the Europeans who got up early. Thank you very much to you. But thanks to all the North Americans and in the case of Rosanna, South Americans. Thank you very much, all of you as well. And I hope to see you at 9 p.m. British Summer Time. They'll be the second live stream of the day. Well, we may find out. It's possible they may immediately publish something. It is possible that they will just say, "What the hell? Let's just tell them." And we will know something. I mean, one of the, even if we just know the size of the nucleus, its diameter, its volume, that will tell us so much. Because we know its mass, we know its minimum mass. If we know the volume or the diameter of the nucleus, that will tell us so much. And it will. I mean, it's going to be very, very difficult for the Skeppers to explain it away. I'll tell you. So thank you, all of you, much appreciated. Should we play out with some music? Yeah, let's have the music again. Hospital Porters, Pride and Dignity, Stop the New World Order. Let's have the music again. Okay.
Conspiracies, government cover-ups, Earth mysteries, monster cryptids, cyber saucers, and black triangles, up and woe. Black goo in Antarctica, lizard kings from the seventh star. Men in black and Queen Boudica, up and woe. Black goo in Antarctica, Keplers from the seventh star. Men in black and Queen Boudica, up and woe. Welcome to the Hop and Woe Show. Once I was alone, I was petrified, thinking I could be abducted when the bins went out. And so I spent so many nights thinking about the gray that might be there. But I grew strong, and now I really couldn't care. Save me from the aliens, save me from the government, save me from the men in black who call. Save me from the skeptics, save me from the watchers. Justice must be done for Richard D. Hall. No more psyop whitewashes. No more left in fear. How long till disclosure comes? Is it really getting near? Is it really getting near? Is it really getting near? Or are we always gonna wonder? Are we never gonna know? Is it just a way to control us created oh so many years ago? Save me from the sheeple, save me from the liars. Open up your eyes and see their false flag planned attacks. Save me from the grifters, save me from the spiteful mutant hacks. Our fear is their power, our obedience the same. Make quiet acts of integrity always be your aim. Make quiet acts of integrity always be your aim. Speak truth to power, always be the keeper of the flame.